Right, good morning, everybody. Okay, so this week we're going to be exploring the topic of justice, or social justice even. So once again, this week you'll be doing a writing prompt and a creating prompt. So on the first slide, I focus on this artist. Her name is Margie Ware. She is the Artist of the Week, and she also explores themes on justice. So if you click the link here, it'll take you to her artist's website, and you can see some of the other works that she does. From further away, they look kind of like mandalas, uh, very uh, lots of repeating patterns. But if you come in close and click on one, you can see it's made up of imagery. And usually that imagery evokes some sort of emotion. This is called Antimacassar for the Gulf. So to me, I see a turtle, I see some water, I see some oil rigs, shells, which kind of remind me of the Shell gas station. And then this looks like some sort of country in the center. So to me, all these animals and the oil, it definitely speaks to compassion towards the animals and the sea life in regards to what's happening with the oil companies and the greed of the oil companies polluting the homes of these animals. So to Margie, in this particular picture, she is focusing on justice for the climate, the sea creatures in her work. So if you go back to the slide here, she focuses on, whoops, hold on one second. Okay, she focuses on the mass incarceration of African Americans. And you can tell that there's like prison, barbed wire happening in the center. Then there's a bunch of locked up people up top. And then down below, we got people with their hands up with handcuffs. Okay, so she speaks a lot about justice in her pieces. So if you're having trouble coming up with inspiration, I would suggest looking at some of her work. Okay, next slide. So this is the writing prompt. So you guys can just go over to the form. So you can click on this link here, and it should take you to a form where you can answer all of these questions that I have. So what does justice mean to you? What might influence justice? Is justice truth? Is justice always right? Okay, so that there's no wrong answer. That's your perspective. So when you click on the form, make sure you do answer and complete sentences. You guys are in high school. You should know to answer using proper grammar and proper punctuation at this point. Okay, so drawing a thumbnail sketch. We already talked about that in the previous slides or the previous lessons. So after you fill out your form, you are going to want to go down and write down what symbolism comes to mind. So Alexander Hamilton said, those that stand for nothing fall for anything. So what things do you feel compelled to stand up for? All right, so remember, think about all the elements and principles of art when you create your symbols in your composition. So don't just draw one symbol. Make sure you are creating balance, using your line effectively, colors effectively. Okay. Think about the things that we talked about before all this happened. What you guys did your elements of art and your principles of design books. Think about ways you can bring those into your art and still execute your idea on justice. So to understand the theme of justice, so many artists channel their beliefs of justice through their artwork, like Margie Ware, Banksy, Shepard Fairey, even Kehinde Wiley, who we looked at. So he wanted to see more African American representation, and to him that felt fair, right? So in order to really explore what justice means to you, it may be helpful to know where you stand on certain issues. Living on this earth, we're confronted with pain and suffering. So where do you feel empathy for those that might be experiencing a little bit more pain and suffering? So it's your idea with the good and the bad. So it could help you to make a list of what you see as good and what you see as bad. So there are certain things in society that are deemed as bad, and you might also wholeheartedly believe that those things are good. So you could make a list of things that you think in society are bad things and things that you think are good. Murder might be one of the things that you put under bad. But if you were to analyze it further, obviously serial killers are bad, and that's wrong to kill people at mass scale or for senseless reasons. But what about war? Is that okay? Some people feel that that's not right. That's not just. And there should be another way. Okay? Or abortion. Is that right? All right. Some people think that it is right because you are not giving that baby a bad life. But some people feel that it's wrong because it's murder. Okay? So explore which areas in society that you feel there should be justice executed further. And if you're having trouble with this concept, it's a very deep, heavy concept to kind of wrap your mind around. Maybe just stick to something simpler, like what you see as justice and not necessarily what's right or wrong. So you can draw symbols for justice. So in order to execute justice, you need a justice system. So there's a judge, there's police officers. All right, so maybe draw some imagery that comes to mind when you think of justice. There's no wrong answer. Just make sure that you are executing your idea using the elements of art and the principles of design. All right, so write a list, write down your answer to the form, and then draw the thumbnail sketches. All right, so this is where you're arranging your symbolism in a way that looks nice artistically, and you're doing it in at least 3 different ways.